Good morning, dear students. So in this I'm going to explain about the power steering, what you mean by power steering, how it will work, how helpful for power steering in a automobile vehicles. Okay, let me understand what you mean by power steering. So power steering is nothing but it is a system which will help the drivers to steer the vehicle by augmenting the steering effort needed to turn the steering wheel, making it easier for the driver to turn is called as power steering. That means steering which will helps to turn left or right very easy or smooth to the driver is called as power steering. Okay, so normally what is the main difference between power steering and normal steering is, so as we know, as we indicate, the power steering system that helps in steering the wheels by using some auxiliary network, some gearbox network. Okay, that is called as a power. And normal steering is a system in which the steering which will force manually, which is used for the steering. Okay, now it is also called as manual steering. Okay, now that is the main difference between steering. Here in manual steering, manual force is applied. In power steering, some mechanism are used. That is the only difference between power steering and uh, manual steering. Okay, next, how it will work. Power steering, what is the it consists of main four parts, that is reservoir, steering gearbox, rotary valve, pump. Okay, the power steering pump is normally made up of vane type pump, or it's similar to the type of vane type of pump. In this, the fluid is compressed or pressurized at the given required quantity, and it is connected to the engine. It will operate with the help of engine to supply the power. That is called as power steering pump. And power cylinder is act as a double acting differential cylinder in which the fluid can flow any direction, either right or left in a linkages. And steering response to left and right turns is slightly different. Okay, now that is about power cylinder. What is reservoir? As you know, reservoir it will store the working fluid. And steering gearbox, here steering gear enclosed in a casing known as steering gearbox. Based on this, the steering mechanism work. Okay, in this we are using gearbox is rack and pinion mechanism. So next one is rotary valve. As the name indicate, rotary valve. So with the help of this, a power steering system includes the valve sleeve in which the rotary carried out with the controlling the fluid flow from the supply pump to a cylinder of the power steering system. So with this valve, um, can control the fluid across the cylinder pump. Okay, now that is the main function of rotary valve. Next, pump is nothing but it is operated with the help of engine, and how much amount of required fluid we need, that much of amount we taken from the pump, and it depends upon the engine speed also. Okay, now, and here vane type of pumps are using. So this is a complete diagram of an steering mechanism. How it mean this is about the round shape that is called as a steering wheel, and this is rotary valve, and this is steering gearbox, and that's a pump, pulley, and this is a wheel. And the main parts of this is gearbox. In this, we are using rack and pinion gearbox. Okay, so here the from the rotary valve, see, look at here. mm, the steering wheel is connected to a long shaft, and along with a rotary valve is connected, and here there is some linkages parts are connected across the this link that is connected in between two wheels. Okay, so here the tires, so here tire in and tire out also takes place during motion. Okay, and from the pump a fluid is circulated through a rotary valve across the linkages, and here we are using double acting cylinder fluid cylinder. As a From the pump, a working fluid is coming out to the rotary valve. In rotary valve, from the rotary valve it is supplied to the double acting cylinder fluid. Okay, now this is normal working process. When the steering wheel is turned left or right, the working fluid direction also will changes left and right according to the based on the wheel rotation. Okay, and in this mechanism, we are using a rack and pinion mechanism. Based on rack and pinion mechanism, the steering systems are work takes place. Okay, so, here different types of power steering: hydraulic, electro-hydraulic, electrical. What we are saying, this is hydraulic power system. So hydraulic, as the name indicate, working fluid we are using to turn the wheel. Okay, this same mechanism is there here. Okay, now here power steering mechanism, two wheels, in and out, pressure tube, this is working fluid, pressure tube, and fluid lines, rotary valve. From the pressure tube or vein pump, fluid is coming out from that, and it transferred to the rotary valve. From the rotary valve, from the rotary valve from the rotary valve, a working fluid is supplied across the linkages, that is rack and pinion mechanism, tire rod, hydraulic piston. So this is normal working. When the steering wheel is rotated left or right side, the working fluid action also changes. Okay now, and this rotary control valve will control the flow of fluid. How? Okay now, how much fluid this required, that much that much amount of fluid is supplied to the this hydraulic piston or this crankshaft entire system. So based on this, turning of wheel takes place. Oh, this is about the power steering pump mechanism. So in this same I wrote here, in this type of power steering system, as we discussed, the hydraulic force is used multiple as steering input for in order to smoothing the steering the front wheel. The hydraulic force generated by a series of components that includes the hydraulic cylinder, rotary pump, hydraulic line, highly compressed hydraulic fluid, and a coupling mechanism that can be coupled this hydraulic system with rack of the steering system. So the main purpose of this is used to this main purpose is to running the smooth one. Okay now, multiple steering input, smoothing the steering of the front wheel, that is the main purpose of we are using the use of power steering. And working is same, the tool. Now when the driver provides the input by rotating steering wheel, the hydraulic pump driven by the engine start the pumping the highly compressed hydraulic fluid through lines. So this means from the vane pump, the drivers, when the engine start, the hydraulic fluid will passes through the near to the compression hydraulic fluid. So next one, the hydraulic pressure is produced by the pump, enters into the hydraulic cylinder, which then applies the ensure that the cylinder piston should be connected across the linkages. That main thing is there. Next one, the piston which is under high pressure start moving from one end to the another end, which in turns pushes the further fluid through lines. With this moment of piston, input force applied by the driver is multiplied several times. This means as we driver turn left on right, the direction of flow also changes. Okay now, the high pressure fluid sent by the hydraulic cylinder then applies the pressure to the attached pinion through the coupling mechanism, which in turn applies high force to the crank gear, and the steering action in the front wheel takes place. So due to this continuous slapping of the fluid from the linkages, then it will work based on this. That is, if a smooth operation, smooth turning takes place by the driver. Okay, next, the main advantage of this one, it will prevent the wheel from transferring the load to steering column. So maximum load it will withstand. So reduce the driver fatigue. So stress out that compact to reduce compact of turning steering wheel can be reduced by the driver. And low input torque and continuously steering function can take place. Oil output directly proportional to the steering speed. These are the some advantages of by using steering wheel. Main disadvantage is fluid leakage takes place when the engine speed high or very running smooth. So little small amount of liquid takes place, and design is compact and increase the cost. These are the some disadvantage. Conclusion: by studying all these power steering concept, it is necessary to the modern cars. Nowadays we can see almost all the cars having power steering. Without power steering we cannot run the vehicles, and it provides the good handling to the driver, and also it gives a better comfort and make him less fatigue. That is it will make him as a less strength. That is the main conclusion of this. I hope you understand this working of power steering system. Thank you.